Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gurave Sarvalokanam Vishaje Bhavarogina Nidhaye Sarva Vidyanam Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Hari Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Shruti Smruti Puranana Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavanto Punah Punah. There is one realization that can transform your life. My existence is beyond the body and the mind, and reposing in that which is beyond the body and the mind, I deal with what is happening in the body and the mind. My true identity is with the self, my transactions are with the body and the mind. If you can just hold on to this one realization, it will take you a long way. All our troubles or miseries are because of our strong attachment that I am this body and the mind, or whatever is happening in the body and the mind, you associate strongly with that it is happening to you. I am that, this is happening to me. If you are able to see that I am separate from the body, I am separate from the mind, I am separate from the experiences and sensations and thoughts and feelings, I am an indifferent witness, then it becomes a lot more easier. This does not mean you ignore the body and the mind, you look after them with utmost care, but you don't get entangled in them. You see that you are beyond them, above them, and more powerful than them. And Krishna tells in the Gita, isn't it? Stronger than the, more powerful than the object of the senses are the senses, and more powerful than the senses is the mind, and more powerful than the mind is the intellect, and beyond the intellect I reside. Come to me, come to me. When he says dwell on me, surrender to me, it does not mean to that name and form, it means to that which is beyond the intellect, that which cannot be logically understood, that which cannot be experienced by the senses, but that which shines itself on all these faculties, without which none of these experiences are possible. Very essential to make this a living reality. Bhagavad Gita Kinchidadhita Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita. Bhagavad Gita Kinchidadhita Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita. Sakridapiyena Murari Sakridapiyena Murari Samarcha Kriyate Tasya Yamena Na Charcha. Bhaja Govindam Bhaja Govindam Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate. If you can assimilate even a fraction of what the Gita is, you don't have to understand the whole thing, just a little bit, kinchit adhita. Even a little bit of what the Gita is telling you, if you can just assimilate that. Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita. This does not, well, the literal translation means if you have drink a little, at least little bit of water from the Ganges. So, in the literal sense, this does not make any difference. By drinking a water from the Ganges, you won't be transformed. In fact, it becomes very difficult to drink nowadays. Ganga and Kashi have been linked through the ages, and Kashi has always been the seat of knowledge. It was the meeting place of all the enlightened people. They would always come there to exchange ideas, to share their insights. That was where the big satsang of the world was happening. They said at one time every street had an enlightened person in there. So, when he says Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita, means when you drink water from the river, when you are in that place. So, at least assimilate a little bit of knowledge by the company of the wise who are moving in there. Yeah. Why there is so much importance given to the water of Ganga? You have to, mythologically, you have to go back to the story. The very reason for the Ganges descent on the earth is to wash the sins away of all the 1,000 sons of Sagara, isn't it? Bhagiratha has to bring, and it's a very interesting story. I might have told you this before. Ganga refuses to come. She says, what is the point? The moment I come down, all the sinners will jump into me and wash all their dirt in me. I will become dirty if I come down here. I am better off here in heaven. Now, Bhagiratha has to convince her. He says, no, it is not just the sinners who come. Every now and then, the enlightened people also dip in you. Once they dip in you, all that dirt will be dissolved. So, the importance given to Ganga is also called as Jnana Ganga, the knowledge. The moment you come in touch with knowledge, all the sins will dissolve instantly. So, Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita means at least assimilate little bit of what you hear all the time. Just reading the scriptures and getting through so many discussions, quoting the shlokas or mantras, at least learn a little bit of what you are doing, just little bit sink in you, just become a part of you. When you drink water, what happens? That water becomes a part of your body. Similarly, let the knowledge be assimilated. Sakridapi yena murari samarcha. One who surrenders to Murari. Murari means what we are telling, the self, that which is beyond the divinity. One who unconditionally surrenders to the divine. Kriyate tasya yamena na charcha. He is not afraid of death. He does not have to argue with death. What it means is that you will not be too much worried by the presence of death. The death will not bother you. When you have assimilated the knowledge, when you have realized that what is going to die is just this body, I am beyond this finite body, I am beyond this changing, fluctuating mind, I am the eternal witness, then you don't have to argue with the god of death. If he comes to pick this body, you are okay, because there is always another body. You wake up in the morning, have a shower, drop your old clothes, wear new ones and carry on as if you have lost nothing. A man of wisdom is able to let go of the body and move into another realm that easily. That is what happens anyway. And being aware of that, you don't have to argue with them. I mean, you don't have to be too much swayed or scared or fearful of death. And this aspect of life, when death becomes another event like sleep. Every day you sleep and wake up the next day morning. Death is you sleep and wake up in another body, that is all. So, when you can see death like this, then you are not scared or afraid or tensed or worried about, you do not give that too much of importance. It is another event of life, just like you do not give too much importance to your sleep. It is another event in the course of life. And when does this happen? Only when you are getting established in the knowledge, when the knowledge touches you and you are able to see life from a bigger perspective. And why we are not able to do this is once again because of the company which surrounds us. We are surrounded by people who are scared of death, who glorify birth and condemn death. And in their company we are conditioned to believe like that, that birth is something very auspicious, very happy moment, and death is something which has to be mourned or condoled. When you realize that both are events, you can't say waking up is nice, going to sleep is not nice. In similar, when you can see both of them, that as an event that is happening and which is impacting the body and the mind, but not you who is beyond that, then you are not too much afraid of death or too much shaken by death. Death of this, when the death of your own body does not shake you, then the death of people around you will also not shake you. And what happens if you do not immerse in that knowledge? What happens when you do not wake up in knowledge, when you do not soak up the knowledge? Punarapi chananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi chananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam. इह संसारे बहुदुस्तारे, इह संसारे बहुदुस्तारे, कृपया पारे पाहि मुरारे, कृपया पारे पाहि मुरारे, भज गोविंदम, भज गोविंदम, गोविंदम भज Mudhamate. If you do not wake up in knowledge, you will keep repeating the same thing again and again. You are born in one body, you go through your desires and regrets and worries and fears, and even at the end of life you are not free of them. You leave this body and catch another body and continue the same thing. It is very similar to, you get up tomorrow morning, you have not transformed yourself, you have just changed your clothes and you are moving, you are the same person still. Until you make an effort toward transformation, you will be the same person doing the same things. And most of us, if you look at our routine, it is unchanging, it is the same mundane repetitive thing. Because that brings you so much comfort and gives a sense of security, you get stuck with it, lifetime after lifetime, not just day after day. When you get stuck with the same thing, there is no progress. To look at life and see, where am I heading in life? This is so boring, isn't there anything more than this? That is awakening of intelligence. If this question does not arise in you, then your Chetana is very low. You are like a rock. The pranic level is so low that you are just okay with survival and pleasure. You are only living in the lower two chakras, that is all. You are not escalating, you are not exploring the full potential of you. Iha samsare bahudustare. When will you realize the misery of this repetitiveness of life? Until you realize that it is a misery, you will not want to get across it. Do you see this? If you feel this is all okay, this is all fine, what is wrong with this, then you will never want to let go of it. Only when you feel the mundaneness of it, the superficialness of the life which we lead, only then you will make an effort to go beyond. You will ask the question, what is this? Is this all to life? Is this why I am born? What is happening in this life? What is life? Who am I? What is this existence? These questions, when they start coming to you again and again, then you have realized there is something more. So, for somebody for whom this awakening has happened, that oh, this is such a repetitive thing, I go behind this desire, I get a little pleasure, a little pain, and then I leave this and go behind something else, and then go behind something else, and this is tiring. How do I rise above this? Iha samsare bahu dustare. This is such a miserable life. It is so difficult to move through this again and again. Only how can I get above this? Only your proximity. Krupaya apare pahe. Please take me out of this. This is mumukshutva. Mumukshutva comes only when you feel the pain and pinch of the shallowness of life. When you see that you are going nowhere. Where I was 10 years ago, I am here only. And you look around people and see them also, they are not going anywhere also. And is this all there is to life? That is when you get this jolt, the urge. That is why death is a big kick in the butt. The moment the news of death comes, okay, I got only 6 months, 1 year, suddenly you become more alive. Kripaya pare pahe murare. Only you can take me out of this. At least make me feel that this life is miserable. You know, big transformation, big changes in direction of people's lives have happened when they have gone through a big disasters. So, sometimes you may need to read a real shock to actually open your eyes up to life. See how Tulsidas, you know the story of Tulsidas, how one insulting remark of his wife changed his life direction. And if you heard about Purandaradasa, the great saint and seer, for him also one strong incident, he left all his wealth and moved away. So, for big changes to happen, usually disasters can help you. So, sometimes be thankful for the difficulties that come in your life, because if there are no difficulties, even God becomes irrelevant in your life. You only need God when there is trouble, isn't it? When things are all going well, who needs God? Who is bothered about God? So, the difficulties, the unpleasantness, the things which you don't like in life, as long as they are happening in the background, at least for those times you are trying to hold on to spirituality, hold on to divinity, you hold on to something that is beyond superficial pleasures in life. Ratyacharpata virachita kantaha punya punya vivarjita pantaha yogi yoga niyojita chittaha ramate balonmatavadeva bhaja govindam govindam bhaja mudhamate. Once the knowledge is awakened in you, then your priorities, outlook towards life changes. Simple living and high thinking. Our priorities are high living and ordinary thinking. Look where our priorities are. Here he is saying, once you know what is the priority in life, you are not too much bothered about the necessities of life. You give the importance they need, you keep them in their place. Rathya karpata virachita kantaha. You are more than happy with clothes which are made by stitching a piece of rags together. Some pieces of clothes are there, you have sewn them together and then you made a cloth. Why the cloth is there? Just to cover my body, to give me some warmth and protection. That is good enough. How do you make a mattress? You just take a few old clothes, stuff them together and you have got a mattress to sleep. Rathya karpata virachita kanta. All the rags which are pieces brought together and I have a simple cloth. Punya vivarjita pantaha. Beyond what is right and wrong, beyond what is good and bad, beyond what is sin and merit. Not seeing things in the directions with the view of opposites. Seeing events or events and not labeling them. Pleasure or pain, seeing them as intense sensations and not holding on to one and rejecting the other. Punya vivarjita pantaha. And where is your priority? Yogi yoga niyojita chitta. Your mind is not on all these external things, your mind is in harmony, in yoga, in keeping an alignment in the body, mind and spirit. Yogi yoga niyojita chitta. Yoga has many meanings. Yoga is what? Karmasu kaushalam, skillfully dealing with the body and the mind while reposing in the self, or being able to handle the tendencies of the mind, keeping the mind calm and settled, that is also yoga. So, your energies are focused on having an equanimity in your mind rather than these external things. And what is the outcome of that? Ramate balon mattava deva. You know, when small children, when they are excited, how they laugh? With a belly laughter, they clap their hands, they are smiling and jumping. So, balon mattava deva means like an excited child, he rejoices life. So, somebody who is learnt what is really important and is able to direct his focus on the really important things, someone in whom the viveka has awakened, he rejoices life like an excited child, like a laughing Buddha. Kastvam koham kutayatah kame janani kome tatah iti paribhavaya sarvamasaram vishvam tyaktva swapna vicharam. One confusion took King Janaka to enlightenment. That confusion was whether this is a dream or that is a dream. Am I awake now or am I dreaming, or was I awake then and now I am dreaming? So, here Adi Shankara says this whole material existence is dream like, it is asaram, means there is no essence in it, there is no substance to it. Whatever importance you are giving, it is only your mind is telling you to give and you are holding on to it. It is like you wear this virtual reality glass and then you are asked to walk on a small plank on the floor, and in the glass it appears you are walking on a glass rod in between two buildings. And then you are scared to look down, you are scared to walk because you think you are going to fall. But your fear is generated not in there but in your mind. And look at the fear that happens in your own dream. You get nightmares, you wake up sweating with your heart pounding, you wake up scared, but then you suddenly realize that this is all just a dream. He says this whole world is like that. Swapna vicharam sarvam asaram. There is no essence, there is no truth to it, there is no substance in it. It is like a dream. Knowing that it is like a dream, just let go, sarvam tyaktva, just let go of it. Letting go is the highest skill. That is why Krishna talks about it in the 18th chapter in the Gita. After preparing you for all that time, then says, just let go, it is a dream. Like you let go of the dream, let go of the world. And then what do? Letting go of the world, inquire into the truth of existence. You are holding on to this material world as truth. No, it is dream like, it has got no essence. Let go and inquire into truth. How do you inquire? Kastvam koham kuta ayataha kame janani kome tata. Inquire, question everything which you have taken for granted. Kastvam koham. Who are you? Who am I? Where did you come from? Where did I come from? Who is this person who calls himself as my father? Who is this who calls herself as my mother? Who is this person who calls herself as my wife or husband? Who is this whom I treat as my own child? Just inquire into all this and say, are these also part of this dream or is this real? And that is where the inquiry starts. Unless you start inquiry, you don't move deeper into knowledge. Tvai mayi chanyatraiko Vishnuh vyartham kupyasi maya sahishnuh bhava samachittah sarvatratvam vanchasya chirad yadi vishnutvam bhaja govindam govindam bhaja mudhamate. Now we start speaking about the principle of Advaita. He says, within you and within me is the same divine, the same Vishnu resides in you also, in me also. There is no need for you to get angry at me or be tolerant about me. Both are stupid expressions. I am tolerating you, I am angry at you. In you, the Vishnu is pushing my button. In me, the Vishnu is getting angry. It is the same consciousness expressing itself in two different forms. It is like the same light goes through the prism and comes as 7 different colors. They all look different, but it is the same light which is creating that effect. It says, Tvai mayi chanya traiko Vishnu. Within you and within me, it is the same Vishnu who is residing, same divinity which is there. Vyartham kupyasi maya sahishnu. You neither need to be angry at me nor need to tolerate me. Because whom are you going to get angry at? The one who is triggering the anger in you is the one feeling the anger as well. The subject of anger and the object of anger are both the same divinity. Everything is encompassed in this one divinity. You and me are just floating in that one consciousness. Like the shells in the ocean, like the fish in the sea, we are all in this ocean of consciousness. And what is keeping us alive is this consciousness, is this water of the ocean. And it is the same for you and me. And Krishna tells in the Gita, isn't it? Sutre manigana iva. I am the thread that passes through all the pearls of the necklace, all the beings. The beings may be different, but the essence within the all beings, that is me. I am the essence of all the beings. I am the thread which holds the necklace together. This entire creation is held together. The diversity is substantiated by that divinity, the same Vishnu. Bhava samachittah sarvatratvam. And see this oneness everywhere, the one principle in everything you see. Your mind may like something, may not like some things, but look beyond the likes and dislikes. See that one essence, one principle in everything. Vanchasya chirad yadi vishnutvam. If you are desirous of experiencing divinity in this life, you first have to develop this skill of seeing that same divinity in everywhere. If God encompasses everything, He encompasses the good as well as the bad, the right as well as the wrong. Just open your eyes and see. By holding on to something good and holding on as something as bad, you are actually creating a division within divinity itself. If divinity encompasses everything, how can it not be there? So, it says, just see, there is one thing. There is one consciousness which is appearing somewhere as this person, somewhere as that tree, somewhere as this. There is one electricity which is somewhere feeding the light, somewhere feeding the oven, somewhere feeding the fan, somewhere feeding the AC. It is the same electricity, and focus on that which is keeping all this moving. All the moving portions, the dynamism in the world is kept dynamic by the subtle energy or wave of consciousness. And if you want to experience that, you better start seeing this oneness everywhere. Shatro mitre putre bandhau ma kuru yatnam vigraha sandhau sarvasminnapi pashyatmanam sarvatrotsruja bhedagnanam bhaja govindam govindam bhaja mudhamate. Ma kuru yatnam vigraha sandhav. Don't use your energy to convince somebody or to clear up something. Either to make this relationship strong or to prevent it from breaking apart. Don't pour your energy. Whether it is a friend or an enemy, whether it is your relative or your children or your wife or husband, what are you always trying to do? You are trying to validate the relationships. You are trying to show that you are a good person. You value people, you love people, you want to be loved. And he says, drop all this effort. This is useless. Ma kuru yatnam vigraha sandhav. Don't try to impress upon people, or don't be worried if they are not impressed by you. If they understand you or misunderstand you, don't put any effort in that direction to let them see your point of view. It does not matter, it is not very relevant at all. Sarvasminnapi pashyatmanam. See yourself in everybody and see that sometimes you have behaved like this person, you have behaved like that person. Somebody is angry, instead of getting upset, you say, I was also angry like this person. Somebody makes a mistake, say, I have also made this mistake. The world is a mirror. What you are, you only see that outside. If you are full of ego, you will only see egoistic people outside. If you are full of love, you see only loving people outside. Do you see how as you grow up, you start distancing yourself from people because this love and trust gets replaced by insecurity and fear. As a child, you don't mind. The child can go to anybody. Child does not discriminate with anybody. Do you see? Yes, it has a little bit more affinity towards the mother or people which you are familiar with, but very easily you can take over somebody's child. It will come to you very happily. But then as the child grows, you say, no, don't go to strangers. Because you feed into it that by default, nobody should be trusted. Sarvasminnapi pashyatmanam sarvatrotruja bedagnanam. Sarvatra utsruja means just remove this, uproot this feeling of divisions, differences. Bedagnanam is he is separate, I am separate, you are separate. Bheda means making differences, seeing differences among people. It says from every aspect of your life, just uproot this feeling, this attitude of differences. See the oneness in everything. Yesterday, Gurudev was saying in the talk, have this unshakable faith that only the best will happen to me. You can't have this when you have got doubt in your mind. Only with faith that will happen. And faith will not arise when you keep seeing that, oh, this is the person I need to be careful about, this person, that person. Bheda Jnanam. At a transactional level, at a superficial level, it is okay to have little bit of transactional differences, but deep inside know that, oh, he is also the same, I am also the same. Look at the mistakes he is making, I have made. Everybody's joy is your joy, everybody's pain is my pain. And seeing that, living through that, when you can rejoice at somebody else's joy, sadness will never touch you. When you can feel somebody's pain, you will never withdraw from service. Love will never leave you. So it's ability to relate to everyone, not to only to a handful of people and being indifferent to everybody. Either be indifferent to everybody or be loving and caring to everybody. Both will keep you rooted in life. But when you become, I am loving to few people or indifferent to others, that's when the problem comes. You see, ability to have this samadarshatvam, samachittatvam. Okay, this guna is coming up in this person, that is why he looks agitated. Oh, maybe this guna is come, that is why this person looks depressed. Attributing the actions and behaviors of people to something which is beyond them, not to them themselves. Looking people beyond what they do and what they talk, that is maturity in life. And only in that state, you will not be disturbed by people and events. think we'll stop there today. Okay, very good, very good. Sahana vavatu sahanau bhunaktu सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। लोका समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु, लोका समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु, लोका समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। पुनरपि जननं पुनरपि मरणं पुनरपि जननं पुनरपि मरणं पुनरपि जननी जठरे शयनं पुनरपि जननी जठरे शयनं। इह संसारे बहुदुस्तारे, इह संसारे बहुदुस्तारे। कृपया पारे पाहे मुरारे, कृपया पारे पाहे मुरारे। भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं।